Cool. All right. Hello, hello. Welcome back to Retrieving Sanity with your host, Liam Crow. Now, I want to talk about something that's rather important, and it's important for everyone. Doesn't matter if you're an alcoholic, addict, normal person, neurodivergent, whatever. And that would be identity. And what do I mean by identity? Well, it's how you define yourself. Who are you, right? What makes you you? What makes you tick? Why do you tick the way you tick? So on and so forth. I want to talk about it because last night I had to talk to someone, uh, a younger person that is in Oxford, and it was abundantly clear that they didn't really have an identity. And I can relate to that. I'm sure most of us can, especially in early adulthood. Being 24 years old, you kind of think you know everything. I know I thought that. But the thing is, whenever you're as old as you've ever been, you feel old. But you look back at it and you're like, "Oh yeah, I was I was a kid." And it's true. For a lot of us, we really sit there and think we know everything. But you look at the people that are older than you and you think everyone has their shit together. Well, that's not really fair or true. A lot of us are winging things that, well, we probably should not wing, but we do it anyways. A lot of us just live in a semi controlled chaos, if you will. And while there's nothing explicitly wrong with that, it gets stressful. But what does that have to do with identity? Well, whenever we're in, well, let's just say lost, whenever we're lost, it's harder to find a way to go because, well, you're lost. You don't know where you are. You may not even have an end goal. You may just be sitting there, kind of floating along the lazy river and hating every place that you end up. Having an identity is like having an end goal to a point, maybe like a checkpoint, if you will. It doesn't have to be the end result, but it's something to help guide you. It'll sit there and say, this is who you are, this is what you do, and this is how you go about doing it. Now, whenever we don't have an identity, a lot of things, well, even if we have one, a lot of outside influences can really alter it and maybe change it or take it away. That's one of the things that a lot of people nowadays, sorry, nowadays are facing is that people are trying to make other people seem like they're insignificant, like they're lesser. And while it's not necessarily new, it's something that's prevalent because for some reason, what someone else is doing with their life bothers so many other people. So, what gives? Well, a lot of the time, those people that are bothered by someone else and have no affiliation with that person or anything they do, it's probably because they're jealous or scared themselves. So, and of course, this is mostly speculation, but is, well, still a fact of life. So, whenever we want to actually sit there and analyze other people, do we sit there and really look at their identity? Are we looking at all of it? Or are people nitpicking, saying, oh, well, I don't like that. And then, oh, I also don't like that. So now, with just a few characteristics, you don't like people in a subgroup. Well, that's just life, right? People suck. Just if you disagree, well, bye. But really the thing that is hard about identity is, well, finding it. And do you find it or do you create an identity? It's a little bit of both. And that's where it gets tricky, though. If you don't know where you're going, if you don't know checkpoints, if you don't know what you want to do, well, the world is wide open. It's kind of hard to sit there and go, that's what I want. That's what I'm going to do. That's who I am. It doesn't really work that way. Well, some people, I'm not one of those people. I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all are not either because, well, if you're on my friends page, you're probably a little weird, hopefully. If you're not, eh, it's whatever. Uh, but trying to find yourself, trying to define yourself is difficult for many reasons because as people we are naturally, inherently seeking, well, acceptance. We're looking for validation. We're looking for something to tell the inside of us that what we're doing is right, or how we think, how we feel. That's what an identity kind of helps guide you along, that you've found a spot in the world. It may not be perfect, but it's your spot. It's you. It's your ticket, your plane, your bus pass, whatever. And trying to sit there and decide all that for yourself is scary because we hate rejection. That's why a lot of people, well, kind of turn into hermits because, well, this group of people started to avoid and like throw you off to the side. And then these people don't really match who you are or think you are. So therefore, why even try? And that's just where it gets tricky. We want justification, we want acceptance. But whenever we're afraid of rejection to the point of paralyzing fear, then we can't do a whole lot. And there's a reason why people say you just got to keep going. Well, it's because there's not a lot to do elsewise. You can sit there and you can stand and twiddle your thumbs all day, every day, but you're not going to get anything. You're not going to make any headway. With an identity, you can sit there and say, this is who I am. This is what I'm going to do with my life. And that's the way it should be. And a lot of people take other people into their identity. So, for instance, if you're on a sports team, suddenly the people in your team also make up your identity. Your team is a part of you. You know, that whole there's no I in team. Well, there is a me, just saying. But the thing is, whenever we have these outside influences being a part of an identity, we suddenly lose a good bit of control over who we are. Because if an outside circumstance happens and it alters our identity to the point to where it's harder to hold on to, we can't really work with that. It's kind of like holding sand that just keeps going away. Like you'll have some left over in your hand, but a lot of it's going to get away. So, like, make it wet sand. At least that kind of sticks, right? But whenever you don't have one and you're sitting there and you're trying to figure it out, it's easy to look at everyone else, kind of like on Facebook. You look and you see everyone's highlight reel. Not a lot of people want to sit there and say, I got this, but I had to go through all this hell. just to get here. A lot of people don't want to hear that. However, that's the truth. A lot of people go through a lot just to get even the simplest things. Just because someone looks happy does not mean they are happy or okay. Trust me. Now, whenever we're sitting there trying to find that identity, we can't really sit there and get that acceptance that we're wanting. Because if we're seeking it from something outside, it will always come back and, well, let you down. Sucks to say, but you can't rely on something on the outside. You have to define who you are as yourself. Some people like to sit there and go with, um, let's use the classic high school cliques: prep jock, band nerd, mathlete, whatever. If we're sitting there and, uh, God, sorry, my brain just went poof. Um, uh, yeah, that train left the conductor. Um, it was going way too fast. Hang on, it'll come back. Maybe. Shit. Well, while I'm thinking, I got this. It's the new one chip challenge. I'm excited, but I am a little afraid because since that first one, I got strep throat. Little did I know, if you don't treat it, it'll infect your tongue. And ever since then, spicy stuff has been much more spicy. So this is going to hurt. Anyways, the train came back around. So whenever we're seeking that outside validation, that acceptance, and if something doesn't go the way we want, we get let down. We start to question ourselves. We start to go, well, why is it working for this person but not for me? What makes them different? Well, that's the thing. You don't really know if they actually are feeling confident and in place of where they are. Unless someone opens up and tells you all the dirty, dark laundry stuff, you're never going to know. I mean, it's prevalent in today's world. You say, hey, what's up? How are you? And everyone goes, living the dream. That's code word for kill me. But we usually seem to get an acceptable, positive response. Now, I challenge you to actually say how you feel to someone whenever they ask you that question, especially someone you have no idea who it is. Say you're getting on an elevator and you're going to like floor 12 and the person is going to like 14. Whenever they ask you how you're doing, just give a little spiel for a few stories. And then on the elevator ride back up for their level, they'll be sitting there kind of scratching their head like, You don't have to give them your life story, but be honest about how you feel. Like, man, today sucks. I want to punch my boss. Um, my cat just got ran over. The goldfish was eaten by the cat before the cat got ran over. And the cat got ran over by my car because someone stole it. Like if that happens like to anyone, that's a terrible day right away. But no one in their right mind is really going to say that because it's a social norm to not do this. We like to have it seem like we have everything together. As a collective, in a society like this, that's a part of our identity. Everything is always okay. But you look at studies and research that's been going on for the last like decade or two, well, turns out a lot of us are actually pretty miserable, and we just like to wear a mask. And it's not that we like to, but that's how we're taught. That's what we were raised to do. Don't bring anyone down. Don't be negative Nancy. Well, what do we do whenever that's like losing a part of our identity? Suddenly we can sit there. You have to be authentic with yourself. You can tell other people what you want all the time. They'll never know unless you tell them what's really going on. Now, for yourself, let's look at it this way. If you go to a psychiatric hospital or something and they give you an assessment to take, they are relying that you are being 100% honest with it. Whenever they see that paper, the assessment, they can tell you, well, you got these symptoms, you got these symptoms, and all this can lead to this, or this. Well, that's your diagnosis. Now that you have that, you can go about treating whatever it is if there's anything to be dealt with. But whenever you fib on that assessment, you might be missing the very crucial thing that you really need. But you're paralyzed with fear because you don't want to be rejected. You don't want to be looked at as an outcast. You don't want to be the black sheep. Well, guess what? Hi, I've been there many times my whole life. And guess what? Eh, shit didn't get started. Sorry. A lot of stuff didn't really get better until I was honest with myself. And even then, just because I can say, well, yeah, that's what's going on. If I don't do anything about it, then it's going to stay the same. It's like it is with that assessment. You fib on it, you lie, you miss what you really need. So, whenever we're trying to better ourselves, whenever we're trying to set a path in the world that we want to go down, that identity is paramount for this. Whenever we don't have an identity, we don't have a sense of self, we let everything on the outside influence us. Not necessarily even influence, it can straight up control you. And I don't know about you, but I don't like people telling me what to do. So I think that's just human nature too. No one likes to be really told. Actually, I take that back. Some people do like to be told what to do because they cannot think for themselves. And if you want to say that, no, well, okay, I'll let you be your own judge. Take your own assessment. Lie to yourself. Go for it. It's nice. And don't, that's sarcasm. Anyways, whenever we want an identity, what do we really do with it? Well, we can do anything we want to with it. And that's the thing, too, is that you have these stereotypes associated with partial identities, right? And just because you fit into a demographic of sorts does not mean that you actually have to sit there and go along with it. You can be a little bit of everything. People that like to gatekeep and say, "Oh, well, you're uh, you like rap. You can't go to a death metal show, or uh, let's say, let- if you're a skateboarder, you can't ride a BMX bike, and that one's true. You can't. Sorry, but whenever we let these things, the little parts of ourselves be dictated because we want acceptance, it's not living, it's surviving, and barely even that. Trying to be yourself is hard to do. It really is. That's why whenever someone goes out and finds a partner, they want someone they don't have to translate themselves for that person. You want to be completely yourself with them, because if not, you're playing an acting game, and that game is very tiring. Not only is it tiring, it's troublesome. You've got a whole lot more work to keep up with something that is not you. Whenever you know who and what you are to yourself, it's easier to go about the world because, again, with your partner, if you don't have to sit there and just translate yourself, it's natural to just be you. No matter how weird or antisocial you may be, finding that person that just understands you, does a little weird something. And that's, again, an outside influence or an outside factor, depending or helping dictate how you are or who you are. But that's the thing, is that just because it's an outside influence does not mean that that person changes you. A lot of people will sit there and take their significant other and actually use that as part of their new identity. So, to make that new identity, you actually sit there and you toss out some of yourself to make room for something else. It's kind of like having a potted plant and you get another one. And so you only have one pot. So you just kind of dig up the other one, move it to the side a little, and then see if you can get that other one in there too. It's probably not going to work. If it does, cool, I guess. But, like, really? I'm sorry, but that, yeah, I don't know why. It's probably because I can see Edgar. He's my plant. But if you sit there and you try to put a plant with another plant that doesn't belong, one needs a ton of water, the other one needs like none, one needs a whole bunch of sunlight, the other one will die in the sunlight, it's not going to work, because you can't satisfy both parts of that and get a favorable result. Without having an identity solid for yourself, you let everyone else kind of dictate who you are. And that's the thing, is that a lot of people get sick and tired with it, but they don't realize that they're sick and tired of not being themselves. They're sick and tired of never really being in control of their story. Well, a lot of the time, people don't know how to find this identity. Some people were never raised with it. And to some, there's a lot of us out there that still have no idea what the hell is going on. Now, the trick to it is to just, well, I can say be yourself, but if you don't know who you are, what do? You just kind of sit there and be however you feel the most comfortable. Now, if you really need to, you maybe look at a subculture of things, right? Like the genre of music you listen to. Maybe you could take little bits of that, or the academia that you like, take a little bit of that, so on and so forth. But the thing is, whenever you find an identity, it's supposed to be something that is natural, something that is you. It's not even second nature, because it's first nature. And whenever we don't have that first nature, whenever we don't have that checkpoint along in life, it's easy to get lost. It's easy to have everything control you. And that's what having an identity is all about, is you controlling you. And it's kind of weird, but and counterintuitive for a lot of us, because again, we're not really raised and taught that way. I don't know about y'all, but I kind of was. I got lucky Thanks, mom and dad, and the rest of the family. But the thing is whenever you grow up and you have no idea what an identity is, how are you going to ever make one? You don't know what it is. Well, that's whenever you go and ask for help. And guess what? Everyone hates doing that too. So it's a whole bunch of nonsensical, counterintuitive BS that we're raised with. Uh, these social norms that are in place for our society makes it to where it's like you're a burden if you don't come out perfect, right? Like you just graduated fifth grade, elementary school, whatever. Do you graduate that? No. But why do you graduate kindergarten? Anyways, so I lost myself. I'm sorry, me. Sorry, guys. Uh, so if you finish elementary school and next thing you know, you're expected to do trigonometry, well, first of all, that is way out of your league. How would you even get there? How would you start? You kind of don't. But whenever we're in a society that expects damn near perfection out of everyone, the pressure that alone builds and puts on people is almost insurmountable. It is very difficult to get out of, and it's something that is just a little bit crazy. Oh, hey, Saba. Sorry, I'm live on Podbean, and one of the few people that actually come and check out the live stream showed up. Sorry, I haven't been active. I took a hiatus kind of unexpectedly, but I'm back and still trying to figure out how to do this, I guess. Like, yeah, there's a lot I still got to do. But you know what? It's okay. I'm going to take it one step at a time, build my identity of the podcasting thing. It doesn't have to be all of me, but it can be a part of me, right? So, um, yeah, whenever our society tells us that we have to be a certain way, uh, a lot of us feel like that's exactly what we have to do because everyone else is doing it. And then, you know, the old saying, if your friends jump off a cliff, would you? Well, a lot of people probably would. And I forget when it was. I think it was in the 1940s, maybe sooner. They did an experiment in a city that they just, a couple guys just started a line, just started a line outside of a building, kind of like near a door, as if they're waiting to get in, like at a club or something. But the thing is people that were passing by eventually started falling into line unprovoked. No one knew what was going on. They just saw a line of people and went, huh, I need to be a part of that. And it sounds stupid, but it really happened. And it just goes to show what kind of hive mind we kind of have, what societal norms have done to us as individuals. We have to think for ourselves, but kind of living in a society that says, no, you got to do this, 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 this. And if you don't, you're an outcast. Well, of course, a lot of us aren't going to sit there and intentionally put ourselves into danger, right? A lot of us aren't going to sit there and go, well, screw you. I'm going to do things my way. So some of us are, some of us aren't. Some of us are in between. For me, I'm in between. I'll do what I need to do so I can do what I want to do. Some things I do begrudgingly, and then others, doesn't bother me because you know what? It's not the thing that defines me. Whatever I do that defines me is something I will do with pride, interest, compassion, not compassion, with passion, and just have a zeal for it that I can't really put towards something I don't care about. And that's the way finding your identity really goes. It's being whoever you feel the most comfortable being while being yourself. Make sense? Okay. So if you're in a bad mood, don't try to trick yourself and say, everything's okay. It'll be okay. No, you know what? Sometimes life really sucks. Remember that goldfish that got ate by the cat, that got ran over by your car because someone stole your car? Yeah, I'm sorry, but that's a crap day. You, if someone were to tell me it's okay, it'll get better. Like the only thing that could maybe come out of that is like some weird insurance clause. And even then, the insurance company is going to be like, well, you put the goldfish in a round bowl. It needed to be in a rectangular tank. So that's why it got eaten by the cat and so on and so forth. And there goes your claim, right? So, yeah. But trying to find something in life that makes you you is definitely interesting, to say the least. It's an adventure all on its own. But one thing with an identity, and I'm going to leave it here with this, is that your identity does not need to be static. In fact, your identity should be as fluid as your mind is open. And for some people, that is just a fucking rock. Sorry, didn't mean to cuss. For some people, that's a rock. They're not ever changing, no matter what, not even the smallest bit. And other people, whenever new information or experience gets presented to them, they're able to adjust their mindset, adjust their identity if need be, to grow and make themselves a better version of themselves. It's all a little bit, well, convoluted to a point, but that's life. It isn't easy. In fact, really the easiest thing to do is nothing. Yeah, see, that's pretty easy. But life is a lot of different things. Life is interesting. Life is strange. Life is fun. But if you don't have an identity, you're just another speck of dust on the top of a ceiling fan that just might get brushed away. You got to jump off that fan yourself. So, anyways, that is it for me today. I hope I didn't bore anyone too much, but that train and the conductor are going to have some words with each other. So, until I see y'all next time, whenever that may be, I hope you have good rest of the day, the night, the evening, afternoon, noon, or just whenever you watch this in the fifth dimension. I will see y'all next time. Thank you, Saba. It's always nice to have you on. Sorry, I was kind of doing a impromptu live stream. Oh, well, Saba was here, and Saba's gone. Okay. Sorry, Saba. Thank you. And all right, Podbean, you're next. Y'all have a good whatever time of day you listen. Talk to you next time.